Hello and welcome to Locked in Buffalo, the new podcast where I talk about the Buffalo Bills, the Buffalo Sabres, and the Toronto Blue Jays, and all things related to those sports. All things related to MLB, baseball, hockey, NHL, NFL, and football. So how this is gonna work is I'm gonna make some daily videos, daily podcasts on the news, predictions, stuff like that, and then obviously I live stream all of the games and stuff, all of the Bills games, all of the playoff games. I'll be live streaming every single game, and then I'll be doing reactions to the games after the game is over, or the day after the games, and as long as news and stuff. So yeah, let's do it. Today we'll be predicting the NFL playoffs. So I am a Bills fan, obviously. So maybe there'll be a little bit of some bias, but who cares? So we'll start on the NFC side. The Panthers versus the Rams. I think it's pretty obvious the Rams are going to move along here. The Panthers, they made the playoffs, but it doesn't necessarily matter. They're 8-9 against a powerhouse like the Rams. Sean McVay is just going to destroy that defense the Panthers have. Such a great offensive-minded coach. I think they move on to the divisional round, and I cannot believe the playoffs are stacked this year. My word. I mean, you got the Chargers who were what, 11-6, 12-5 this year, and they're the 7th seed. The Bills are the 6th seed. You had the Packers, but the 49ers who are the 6th seed are 12-5. Same thing with the Rams. Unbelievable. Every team is so good this year in the playoffs. It's basically a toss up because everybody has flaws. Everybody has different types of flaws. So it's gonna be incredible. Eagles and 49ers. I'm going to have to take the Eagles here just because of home field advantage. That they're gonna have such a way better time at protecting and everything. And having that play clock, they're gonna have such a easy time doing that. That's the only reason. It's very hard to go into Philadelphia and win a playoff game. That is why. And now the Packers versus the Bears. I think this is completely obvious. I think the Bears are gonna win. I they're just they're gonna pick apart. Caleb Williams is gonna pick apart the Packers. I think the Bears are actually a good team. They're gonna be not necessarily this year because they don't have the playoff experience, and I think especially in these playoffs, playoff experience is going to matter a lot just because it's a toss up. Every single team is so even. Every single one of these games could go either way. If I'm predicting a game to go against your team, that's my bad, especially if you guys end up winning, which most likely you will now. But that's the whole reason is it's so close. It's just going to end up who has more experience, who's not going to collapse under the pressure as often. And I think you saw that in the MLB playoffs and how why the Blue Jays actually lost game 7 is because of the experience. That it's going to be such a big factor, especially in round 1. I'm going to pick the Texans here though. And that kind of goes back of what I just said. I'm going to pick the Texans because they have such a good defense. The Steelers' offense isn't the greatest. It's going to be defensive. It's going to be low. It's going to be a long game. It's going to be a slow game. It's gonna be a punt fest. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of points brought up. I think 13-10, maybe 16-13 or something like that will be the final score. But the Texans' defense is just too good, and Aaron Rodgers is too beat up as a 40-year-old man. I think they can squeak this out and make the divisional round. Jaguars at Bills. This is probably the matchup of the week. I think whoever wins this could make a big run at the ship this year. I'm going to pick the Bills, not only because I'm biased, but because they're just more experienced than Jacksonville. Jacksonville only has one playoff win in the Trevor Lawrence era. I think the Bills get past them because of playoff experience, because Allen is so good in the playoffs. I don't think everybody realizes that he's literally the best quarterback in the playoffs. Um, Even though he doesn't have the accolades, the Super Bowls, he is the best. He like against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship last year. That wasn't on him. I mean, it was Bass missing a wide right 2 years ago. It was 13 seconds. Was not his fault. The only playoff loss that was his fault was the Texans playoff loss in his sophomore year, and then the Bengals loss in the divisional round. I think those are the two ones that were his fault. So Chargers Patriots. I'm actually gonna pick a upset here. Never mind, I'm not going to pick an upset. This is difficult. I think the Chargers are going to come in here and they're going to be riled up. Justin Herbert's going to be riled up. They're going to go into New England and they're going to try and they're going to give them a run for their money. Everybody's picking the Patriots, be like Drake May, he's going to be so good and stuff. I do believe the Patriots win. I do. It's going to be way more scary than most Patriots fans make it out to believe. But I have them advancing just because Mike Vrabel's such a good coach, and he's just going to take out that O-line that's buried right now. I mean, they're injured, they're injured and stuff, yeah. So, I do believe the Patriots end up winning that game, but it's going to be closer because the Chargers are coming near feisty, I think so. All right, Rams, Seahawks. I'm going to take the Seahawks. They have the best home field advantage in the entire league. Even though the Rams have playoff experience, stuff like that. You know what? Man, this is actually tougher than I expected. Hold on. I don't know. I think I actually take the Rams here. Huh. This is interesting. This is so tough. This is probably the toughest bracket we will have in years. Rams, Seahawks. It's tough. Both have awesome offenses. I'm just going to have to take actually the team that has playoff experience. The Rams. That's the same thing what I'm going to do with the Eagles here. Yeah, I know it's quick, but I'm going to stick by my word and say more experienced teams are going to win. And that's why I believe, yeah, especially in the NFC side, because all of these teams, like the Panthers, the Packers, kind of, the Bears, they all don't have that. The Seahawks, even though they did so well in the regular season, every single one of these teams, they just don't have the playoff experience to, like, in a big moments. And that's why 13 seconds, that's why I think the Bills lost 13 seconds, is because the defense just didn't have enough experience. Same thing in 2020 when they lost to the Chiefs. It just comes down to experience here, and I think the Rams have more experience than the Seahawks. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious, actually. So I'm going to put, and then the Eagles, same thing here. Caleb Williams and the Bears, they just don't have that oomph playoff experience, so I think the Eagles do take them down here. The Eagles are actually, I think the Eagles are very, very iffy this year. I think that's kind of obvious because every team is iffy this year. They've lost some games that they should have won. They've been in closer games than they should be. It's been such a weird year. Their offense isn't the same as it was last year, but I think they do enough to get past the Bears in the divisional round. Texans, Patriots, I'm going to take the Texans here. Both teams don't have that much playoff experience. Texans also do have more playoff experience. I don't think that would be such a key role in this game because they don't have a lot more, but their defense is just going to pick apart Drake May. I feel like they're going to go in, and the defenses win championships, especially in the NFL, and I think the Texans have what it takes to do that. So I'm going to take them. And now I'm a Bills fan. I am a Bills fan, I promise. I'm literally from Buffalo, New York. That's why I'm a Blue Jays, Bills, and Sabres fan. Huge fans of them all. I've watched 80% of their games. I am taking the Broncos here. I'm taking the Broncos not because of playoff experience, because I think the Bills have all the playoff experience in the world. I'm pretty sure them and the Eagles are probably the two, Eagles and Rams. Them Eagles and Rams are really the only teams, actually, as I'm looking at this, that have any more experience, like conference championship type experience, but it comes down to the O-line. I've watched every single game this season. The offense does not have what it takes against top defenses like the Broncos. That's why I think they win against the Jags, is because they're going to pick apart the defense tomorrow. Also, if you have any proof, there you go, 3:41 on Saturday, so I'm not predicting any of the NFC games after the fact. So I do believe that the Broncos beat the Bills. It sucks, but they have a better defense. They have one of the best defenses in the league. That's why I think even if they beat the Broncos, which it's totally possible, it's going to be a close game. If I had a score prediction for this game, 26-20 Broncos, and it's because of the takeaways. The offensive line has been awful for the Bills this season, and it has been for literally every single year since the Josh Allen era started. I believe so, even though they've given up less sacks and stuff. It's Allen running out of the pocket, but because he's injured, because he's older now, he's not going to be able to run around like a madman out there. He can still, but not as much. So the Broncos do take this because of that. That's why I'm not being biased. I think the Broncos absolutely beat the Bills. And they also have home field advantage, which is very difficult in my eye. So I do believe the Broncos would win. Now, Rams, Eagles. I believe this is going to be difficult now. Man, this is such a weird bracket. I'm going to pick... So, all these games are toss-ups, by the way. Every single team has a chance to make the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to go back to the Super Bowl. Yeah. I don't feel good about that prediction at all. But they have home field advantage. Remember that. They're going to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs because I predicted that, well, besides, so yeah, wild card and conference championship, they both. I predict to go back just because of experience, and they did it last year. I do believe they go back to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a close game. Rams could easily win it. Same thing with literally all these games. I'm rushing past it because I want to get to the explaining part of the video of how my channel is going to work. And then, obviously, do that. So, yes, Eagles to the Super Bowl, I believe. Texans, Broncos. This is the battle of the defenses. Bo Nix and C.J. Stroud, I'm sorry, but they're some of the most overrated quarterbacks in the entire league. I'm going to take the Broncos to make the Super Bowl because they have such a good defense as well, but they have a decent offense that can explode when it wants to. Eagles, Broncos in the Super Bowl. Both the Texans and the Broncos don't have that much playoff experience, so it's difficult to tell. But I think the Broncos make the Super Bowl, and then for the Super Bowl, I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl. That's my playoff picture. It's difficult. It is very difficult to explain here, but a lot of different things can happen. I think the Jags could easily upset the Bills. I think the Bills could easily go into Denver and win if their defense just plays decent. You know what? Oh, now I'm having second thoughts before I submit this to you guys. Hold on. This is definitely the most difficult game is Bills Broncos here. I might actually take the Bills. I don't think they would win I don't think they would win in the championship game though. I might actually take the Bills here. Again, all of these Seahawks. It's so difficult because these games were so close against these teams. Like even in the NFC Championship game, where I still would pick the Texans to beat the Bills because they did the season. I could even pick the Chargers. Really, I'm gonna stick to my prediction. I believe that the Eagles win the Super Bowl. No, this seems difficult. I'm going to submit it. Literally all these could be wrong, by the way. Thank you guys for watching. So this is gonna work. Especially for the playoffs here, I'm gonna be live streaming every game. I'll be giving my live reactions to every game. Sabres game tonight, I'll be also live streaming, kind of both at the same time. It's gonna be weird. But yeah, my reactions, I'll also be with my dad. He could be making an appearance. And then obviously I'll have daily videos for you guys, daily news and stuff. And then obviously reactions, like tomorrow, Bills game, absolutely reacting to that. Live streaming, and then have my post-game reactions, I guess, and then making a video in the morning. So a lot of content coming out for you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.